Hello students, please be ready for the English literature class. Today we'll do a new chapter from the book Honeydew, that is chapter 5, The Summit Within. Okay, that is page 76. So all of you are ready? So let us begin. Major HPS Ahluwalia, okay, was a member of the first successful Indian expedition to Mount Everest in 1965. How did he feel when he stood on the highest point in the world? So let us hear his story in his own words, climbing the summit, and then the more difficult task of climbing the summit within. Okay, so what is this story about? Major HPS Ahluwalia, okay, he was one of the members of the first ever successful team that reached the top of Mount Everest. Okay, that was the year in 1965. So, what is this chapter about? This chapter is about his emotions and moods, okay, his feelings on reaching the top of the summit. Okay, so how did he feel when he stood on the highest point in the world? Okay, so he tells us his story. Okay, and climbing the summit was one thing, and the more difficult task was of climbing the summit within. Okay, so let us see the story of all the emotions which surged means arose suddenly and intensely through me as I stood on the summit of Everest, looking over miles of panorama. Panorama means view of a wide area. The dominant means ruling or the major. One I think was humility. Okay, so what is humility? Uh, the quality of being humble. The physical in me seemed to say, thank God, it's all over. However, instead of being jubilant, okay, jubilant means very happy because of success. Okay, there was a tinge means traces, shade or traces of sadness. Was it because I had already done the ultimate in climbing and there would be nothing higher to climb and all roads hereafter would lead down? So, what does he say in the first paragraph? Okay, so on reaching the top of the Mount Everest, that is the summit, okay, he shares his sense of joy and triumph, okay, at being among the first one to reach the top. And there are two natural emotions, okay. There was also a lot of humility, for they thanked God, okay, for making it possible, and it was all over, okay. But he was surprised, okay, after reaching the top, hmm, and being jubilant, okay. After that, he felt a little sad. There was a tinge of sadness. And then he asked himself, what was the reason for this sadness? Was it that he had finally climbed Mount Everest? Okay. And that was the highest peak that he had climbed. And after that, there would be nothing higher than Mount Everest to climb. And all roads after that will lead down. So he felt what? There was a sense of vacuum or and aimlessness. Okay. And he felt as if this sense of vacuum and aimlessness, okay, had replaced his earlier objectives, his earlier aims. What was his earlier aims? His earlier aim was to climb Mount Everest. And once this was achieved, okay, he felt as if there would be nothing more or nothing higher to climb than Mount Everest. And this is the reason why he felt sad. Is it clear? I hope you have understood. Okay. Now let us move on to the next paragraph. By climbing the summit of Everest, you are overwhelmed. Okay. Now, overwhelmed means happiness, joy, extreme joy, by a deep sense of joy and thankfulness. And it is a joy which lasts a lifetime. And the experience uh, changes you completely. And the man who has been to the mountains is never the same again. So that is what he experienced. Okay, that is what he felt. Okay, he's saying he was very excited. Okay, there was a deep sense of joy and thankfulness. Okay, thanking God for having achieved his success. Okay, and he felt that this joy lasts a lifetime forever. Okay, and this experience of climbing mountains changes a person completely. And according to him, the man who has been to the mountains is never the same again. He is a changed man. All right. Okay, let us move on. As I look back at life after climbing Everest, I cannot help remarking about the other summit, the summit of the mind, no less formidable. Okay, formidable means arousing fear. Okay, so after having climbed the Mount Everest, okay, uh, he ponders thinks about back, okay, about his climbing Mount Everest, all right, and then he thinks about one more thing, and he said not only uh, climbing Mount Everest, okay, there was other another summit which he had to achieve or climb, and that was the summit of the mind. Okay, and that is also fearful. It is no less formidable. Okay, and climbing the or reaching the summit of the mind is not easy. Okay, it is not an easy climb. Have you understood? Okay. Let us move on. Even when getting down from the summit, once the physical exhaustion means tiredness, had gone, I began asking myself the question why I had climbed Everest. Why did the act of reaching the summit have such a hold on my imagination? It is already a thing of the past, something done yesterday, and with every passing day, okay, it would become more remote. Remote means far away. And then what would remain? Would my memories fade slowly away? All right. So after he got down the summit, after he got down the Mount Everest, okay, and when the physical tiredness had gone, okay, he began to ask himself questions like why he had climbed Everest and why did the act of reaching the summit had such a hold on his imagination. Okay, means he kept on thinking about it. It was in his memory even long after he had got down the Mount Everest. Okay, and it was already a thing of the past. All right, but and with every passing day, he thought this memory will become a faraway memory. It will become very remote. Okay, and then he asked himself, okay, would the memories slowly go away, fade away? That is a memory of climbing Mount Everest. So all these thoughts led me to question myself as to why people climb mountains. It is not easy to answer the question. The simplest answer would be, as others would have said, because it is there. It presents great difficulties. Man takes delight in overcoming obstacles. I'm just reading, I will explain you. The obstacles in climbing mountains are physical. A climb to a summit means endurance. Endurance means ability to bear hardships. Okay. Persistence meaning to keep on trying, and willpower. That is the willpower of the mind or determination. The demonstration of these physical qualities is no doubt exhilarating as it was for me also. Okay. So exhilarating means very exciting. So let us go back to that paragraph. So according to the writer, okay, he says that climbing the mountains means to overcome obstacles. Okay, and it is not easy to answer this question as to why people climb mountains. So what would be the simplest answer? The simplest answer would be, as others say, because it is there. And because that Mount Everest is there, it is for people to climb it. That would be the simplest answer. But climbing the summit or climbing Mount Everest, okay, presents a lot of difficulties. And it is human nature, man takes delight in overcoming obstacles, hardships, difficulties. Okay, man gets a sense of satisfaction, happiness, delight in overcoming these difficulties. And the obstacles or the difficulties in climbing a mountain are physical. So a climb to a summit, meaning a climb to a mountain peak, means what? Endurance, persistence, and willpower. So these are the three qualities which is required to climb a mountain. What are the three qualities? Endurance, persistence and willpower. Okay, and the demonstration of these physical qualities, which I just mentioned, these three physical qualities. Okay, the showing off or the demonstration of these physical qualities is no doubt very exciting, exhilarating, as it was for him also. Okay, now let us move on. But he has a more personal answer to the question. I have a more personal answer to the question. From my childhood, I have been attracted by mountains. I had been miserable, lost, when away from mountains. So he has some other answer, okay, as to why people climb mountains. And that is his personal answer. So what is it? As a child, okay, he had been attracted by mountains. And whenever he was away from mountains, he felt very bad. He felt miserable, lost, okay, whenever he was in the plains. And according to him, mountains are nature at its best. Mountains look beautiful. Their beauty and majesty means king like, okay, pose a great challenge. And like many, I believe that mountains are a means of communion with God. So these are the reasons why he climbed Mount Everest. Okay. And the last reason he gives, okay, according to him, he believed that mountains are a means of communion. Now, communion means what? State or feeling of close relationship. So, according to him, okay, that mountains are a means of having a close relationship with God. Is it clear? So, these are the reasons as to why he climbed Mount Everest. So, let us move on. Once having granted this, the question remains, why Everest? Okay, all right. So, suppose that answers the question. What question? That why people climb mountains, and the answer he has given. Okay, then another question remains, why Everest and no other mountain? Because it is the highest, the mightiest, and has defied many previous attempts. Okay, so defied means frustrated or resisted. So why Mount Everest? Because Mount Everest is a challenge. Okay, it is the highest, uh, the mightiest. Okay, and many people have tried to climb Mount Everest. Okay, but were not so successful. It had defied many attempts, and it takes the last ounce of one's energy. Ounce means tiny bit, little. Okay, so just think, okay, it takes the last, meaning just the last little of the energy that is left to reach Mount Everest. And it is a brutal struggle, very rough struggle with rock and ice. It is not an easy climb. And once taken up, one who is on the way of climbing Mount Everest, it cannot be given up halfway. Suppose a person is climbing Mount Everest, okay, and he has reached halfway, he cannot give up. When one's life is at stake, at risk, The passage back is as difficult as the passage onwards. So going back or climbing down, okay, is as difficult as climbing up. Okay. And then when the summit is climbed, there is the exhilaration, excitement, the joy of having done something, the sense of a battle fought and won. And once the person has climbed the summit, there is a excitement, joy, and there is a sense of feeling, okay, of having achieved something done, like the sense of a battle fought and won. And there is also a feeling of victory and happiness. Clear? I hope you can understand. Okay. Now, once the summit has been climbed, glimpsing, okay. So, what is glimpsing? A quick look. Okay. So, glimpsing a peak in the distance, I get transported to another world. I experience a change. Turn over the page, which can only be called mystical. Okay. What is mystical? What does mystical means? Spiritual. By its beauty, aloofness means single, alone, far away. Might, ruggedness means rough. Okay. And the difficulties encountered means faced on the way. The peak draws me to it, as Everest did. So when he's standing there, okay, when he looks at, I'll go back, I'll explain you. When he glimpses, gives a quick look at the other peaks, okay, and just going back to the line before. So he gets he gets transported to another world, okay, and he experiences a change within himself. So looking at the other peaks, okay, he gets transported to another world of imagination. All right, clear? And he experiences a change, and which can be called mystical, meaning spiritual. By so these mountains, these peaks, okay, which are far away, how do they look? It's beautiful, aloof, far away. Might means great, ruggedness, rough, okay, and the difficulties encountered on the way, all the problems, obstacles faced on the way, okay. So these are the qualities, these are the factors which attracts the writer. Like it attracted him to climb Mount Everest, and it is a challenge that is difficult to resist. Okay, resist means to remain firm against the actions. Clear? Okay, let us move on. Now, looking back, I find that I have not yet fully explained why I climbed Everest. So, he still has not fully explained, okay, as to why he had climbed Mount Everest after having climbed it. And it is like answering a question, why you breathe? So, it is a very difficult question to answer. Why did you climb Mount Everest? It is just like asking, why do you breathe? Why do you help your neighbor? Why do you want to go? Why do you want to do good acts? So there is no final answer possible. So he thinks climbing Mount Everest, okay, and answering the question as to why he climbed it, it is just like asking why do people breathe, why do people help their neighbors, okay, why do people do good acts. There is no final answer possible. And then there is another fact, okay, what is it? And then there is the fact that Everest is not just a physical climb. The man who has been to the mountaintop, becomes conscious in a special manner of his own smallness in this large universe. Yes. So when a man is standing on Mount Everest, on the mountain top, and when he looks at the vast universe, at that time he realizes how small he is in this large universe. That is another experience. Is it clear to you? I hope so. So, let us move on. The physical conquest of a mountain is only one part of the achievement. There is more to it than that, and it is followed by a sense of fulfillment. There is the satisfaction of a deep urge to rise above one's surroundings. It is the eternal love for adventure in man. The experience is not merely means just only physical, it is emotional, it is spiritual. So, the physical conquest, that means climbing a mountain, is only one part of achievement. There are more achievements. What is it? Okay, there is more to it than that. And it is followed a sense of fulfillment, that his wish has been fulfilled, his desire of climbing mountains has been fulfilled. So it is that satisfaction. So it is the satisfaction of a deep urge, okay, to rise above one's surroundings. So it is this satisfaction. See, all our surroundings, it is plain, plain land and all that. And Mount Everest or any other mountain peak, it is are at such great heights, okay. So having climbed those mountains, peaks, okay, there is a satisfaction to rise above one's surrounding. And it is this eternal means forever, love for adventure in man. So the experience is not only physical, okay, and it is also emotional and spiritual. So the time is up. Okay, I will continue with this chapter in the next class. So I hope you have understood. Go through the chapter till where I have taught you. All right. So I will stop here now.